Oh, hello. Welcome to today's video. It's going to be another episode in the periodic series Recollections of Battle, where I try and dimly remember a war game played between myself and my usual war games play partner Zimbad. This time is going to be different. Instead of Kill Team, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Shatterpoint. Now, I played this game 2 days ago. I'm going to do my best to remember what happened. It's going to be a focus on what I remember, my lessons learned, and what was going through my head. So, apologies if I skip over some stuff or some bits and pieces don't make sense. I will also say this is the second time I've recorded this video because the first time the sound didn't record, which was just peachy. So, I was playing my Separatist list, the one that I'm thinking of taking to a tournament in a couple of weeks, consisting of General Grievous, and in General Grievous's squad we had Kalani and the Magna Guard, and then in the second squad we had Count Dooku with Kraken and the B1 battle droids. And Zimbad was playing what I understand is actually a pretty on-meta list. He was playing Obi-Wan and Hunter. So mainly the Bad Batch, right? So you got Hunter with Echo and Tech and Wrecker, and then you've got Obi-Wan with Crosshair, and then I think Zimbad was taking the 212th, which won't be the meta pick. The meta pick will be something else, possibly Clone Commandos, but Zimbad just likes to take the 212th with Obi-Wan, which is cool. So let's get into the game. Need to press a button. There we go. So, unlike the Kill Team versions of this, where there's a nice kind of map, we haven't got a map because there are no map layouts for Star Wars Shatterpoint. There's no like official maps to play on, so this is just a map that Zimbad came up with. So we can blame him for any perceived terrain imbalances that you may detect in the game. We play shifting priorities. Okay, so the default objectives that came with the Shatterpoint core box, and you can't actually see any of the objectives on Zimbad's side of the table. I promise you they are there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these green circles to indicate roughly where they are, right? Because I promise you they are there. Yeah, there's one sort of here. This one really is missing. It must sort of be here. And this one over here. But truthfully, the location of these two, I'll take these off. They don't matter, okay, because they weren't active for the first struggle. But there is a green one there, sort of underneath there on that piece of thing. It might be a bit further back, like here, right? Okay, so Zimbad got the first turn, and his first card that he drew was the 212th. Now, they have an ability to do a free dash and then a move, and he was able to get his 212th up to approx here and approx here. Sort of covering both of those two central objectives that were active. I was surprised, honestly, by how much he was able to move. I think something I need to cement in my head is that if you have a move and a dash, that's sufficient to get into a middle objective. Because there are certainly things on my team that have a move and a dash, and I didn't feel like I could get them onto the gantries and things easily. So that's something I need to really bear in mind and play with as I'm going forwards. So they moved, dashed, and hunkered, and generally stood on those objectives. Of course, Zimbad can't score in the first turning point of the first turning point in playing Kill Team. The first turn of the first struggle, the first activation of the first struggle, can't score. So then it came over to my turn, and I got quite lucky, and I drew my Shatterpoint card, which was pretty cool. And so I chose to Shatterpoint Kalani, which is cool. So when Kalani activates, he gets to give a free dash to all the droids within 4 of him. Now, I'd slightly misdeployed, so I got my free dash with my Magna Guards there, free dash with my Magna Guards there, and I got free dash with my B1s to about there. These B1s here on the left, bottom left, were not within 4 of Kalani. I should have put them where I put Kraken, and put Kraken where I have put the B1s. You live and learn. You live and learn. So that was free, essentially. And then what I did was I moved. I moved the whole photograph. I didn't mean to do that. I moved Kalani up to here to try and I think I moved him about there to try and get a shot at the 212th, to try and get tactical network for free, right? Because that seemed like an important thing. So I did that. Didn't get tactical network free. Spent a force for tactical network. Moved the Magna Guard up to the ladder here, which got them just onto there. They were either just in or just out from this objective. I think they should have been just in from to the objective. So I scored 1 hit here. No, I didn't do that. Sorry, because those Magna Guard were here claiming that objective. I did something else this turn with my tactical network. I must have... Because I couldn't move these. Because I need to score... I couldn't move these Magna Guard here, right? These ones, right? Because I need to have them end that turn on that objective. I must have done... I think I moved the B1s to here. And just took some shots at these 212th up here. So I only scored 1, which was probably a poor move, right? Probably should have done something better, but there you go. So now it flips around to Zimbad's turn, and I'm pretty sure what happened next is he drew Crossfire here, which I represented by an X. Crossfire managed to get up here, and before he moved, he did his thing where he did 1 damage to Count Dooku. Okay. And then he moved, and then he took a shot at the B1s. That's right, yeah, he took a shot at the B1s, and the B1s ended up getting pushed back to here as a result of Crosshair shooting them. This meant Zimbad was able to score 3, right? Because he's on an objective there with Crosshair, and he's on an objective there with the 212th, right? So then it was my second activation after I had Shatterpointed Kalani. And what did I do? I'm pretty sure that what happened then is I was instantly able to, slightly ridiculously, I kind of got the perfect draw. Genuinely, I got the perfect draw because I managed to then draw Kalani's card, right? Now, I may have drawn the B1s and then reserved them to the bottom of the deck. I may have drawn Kraken and put him in reserve. Can't quite remember the order of things that happened. But then the next card that I actually played was Kalani. So I got the free activation with Kalani. And this was when the Magna Guard were able to move with their free dash to this ladder and get up to here. Just in range of that objective. And these Magna Guard moved with their free dash to here. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And then Kalani moved to here, took another shot at these 212. I think he actually got the free trigger on his activated ability. So let these Magna Guard dash and get up to here and do a 5 dice attack against these 212s. and knock them off the top. I may have wounded them as well. They may have been pretty close to being wounded at that point. So this was a really big turn for me. Getting to do Kalani twice like that was really, really powerful. And so I was then able to score 3, right? So I've got my home objective down in the bottom right. Nobody on it, but it's controlled by me. And I've got the 2 on the right of the centre. So I score 3. That's right, yeah. And then Zimbad's activation. So Zimbad was able to activate, I think it was Wrecker next, right? That makes sense. So Wrecker managed to come up, take this, okay, and then I think he pushed or shot or don't really remember. Somehow the Magna Guard ended up back down on the floor with some kind of ability that I didn't quite remember. Because it wasn't the bash, because he didn't have enough movement. But does he have a gun? Don't remember. But the Magna Guard were down there. Okay. And then that's Zimbad now scoring 3, right? Because he's got Crossfire, the 212 here, and Wrecker on this objective. Over to me. I was pretty pleased. I drew General Grievous, who was just the guy that I wanted. And Grievous was able to use his move, and then his scuttle to get up here, to be just in melee range with Wrecker. Wrecker may even have been in melee range with the Magna Guard. You forget that melee range is a really long range in Shatterpoint, right? And then Grievous was able to push Wrecker back, I think, or off, or something. Dispatched Wrecker briefly. And was scoring the objective. So then I scored 3. Yeah. And then it was Zimbad's turn. But before Zimbad's turn, he had moved Hunter up here, because Hunter has a trigger when the primary moves, Hunter gets to move. And then Hunter was then, and again, there may have been some reserving happening. I don't remember the intricacies of who then reserved what or did what, right? It's not that important to this is about grand narrative, right? Hunter then came along and basically was able to get up here, okay, and fight the Magna Guard and knock the Magna Guard off there, right? Okay. So, and then, once again, Zimbad is scoring 3. So we have this backwards and forwards, and it's not finished yet, where everyone is, the game feels very, very tight. Everyone's scoring 3. Zimbad's got that lead of 2 from the very first round, where I scored 1 and he scored 3. But it's going over and over from him, from 2 to him, to 1 to me, to 2 to him, to 1 to me, to 2 to him, to 1 to me, over and over and over, right? And then that carries on. So the next thing I activated was Dooku, right? So Dooku gets his free dash and a dash for a friend. And I believe what I did was maybe I moved these B1s back to here. I don't really know what I was doing with the B1s. And then Dooku gets the free dash. And he was able to get it was literally within microns of this ladder, right? And then he's up here. And then he does the move off the top of the ladder, which puts him just in range here. And he fought the 212th, and they were down here. And if they weren't injured before, they were definitely injured now, that they'd been Count Dooku'd, right? So then you can see that I am now in the position where I'm scoring 3, right? Because I've still owned this home objective, even though I've got no one stood on it. And then I've got Grievous and Dooku both holding points. And then it flew over to Zimbad's turn. And Zimbad, at this point, I believe, drew his Shatterpoint. I think that's what happened. I may have got the order of things slightly confused, but Zimbad drew a Shatterpoint. So basically, Wrecker came up and barged General Grievous off here. and then Wrecker's holding the objective. And that was basically that turn. So now, yes. So now, Zimbad scores 3, right, with Wrecker, Hunter, and Crossfire. And then it went back over to me, and I activated. Now, I think it was time for... Now, this was a very difficult one for me. I'm pretty sure I had... Whatever had happened, I had Kraken in reserve somewhere, right? Kraken was in reserve. That was the one that I'd reserved. And I could activate Kraken, and I felt that if I activated Kraken, I could get a 1-point swing and score 3 by manoeuvring the Magna Guard to get Wrecker off or Hunter off their respective points, right? However, I hoped that if I could get the Magna Guard's card, right, I'd be able to move both of them and potentially shove off both Wrecker and Hunter. Because remember, even though the Magna Guard have done quite a lot in this game, they haven't actually done any activations yet. And then meanwhile, I knew the B1s were in the deck as well. And if I'd remembered, I think I would have remembered the fact they're on the bottom of the deck and therefore couldn't be drawn. But I don't think I remembered that fact. I remember it now that I'm retelling the game. So it was more of a gamble in my mind. Actually, it wasn't a gamble, it was a dead cert. I should have had the knowledge that my 2 cards were Kraken in reserve and the Magna Guard and then the B1s. But in my head, I didn't remember that, right? So then what I tried to do was I didn't unreserve Kraken. I activated the Magna Guard, right? So the Magna Guard were able to come up here, okay, and get up here. And they both tried to attack and get Hunter and Wrecker off their respective points. Unfortunately, Wrecker, has... sorry, excuse me. Wrecker has tags... Like, not only do you need to shove him twice to get him to move, because he's got Steadfast, which I thought had quite a good chance of doing, because a Magna Guard has... shove on 1 and 2, so I thought I had a decent chance of having that happen. Unfortunately, between the fact that Wrecker had Hunker Token, which you could use in cover because Obi-Wan was on the field, and they have some expertise that changes crits into misses, I was just constantly getting 1 through and doing 1 damage and a single push, which was ignored. So that didn't go anywhere. Hunter, so the Magna Guard actually did push Hunter off, but Hunter has a dash in his defense, right? Which is, Zimbad actually had to show me the card, because I'm like, I've got a dash in my defense. And I'm like, you've got what? I'd never seen that before. So he ended up back where he was. Again, he took some wounds. Like, I'm doing the damage, but in this game, damage is not the important thing. So, yeah. We ended up in this sort of situation. So now again, Zimbad, I failed to shift him. So Zimbad comes on and goes, oh, all right, well, I'm scoring 3 now. I don't really super need to do very much. And I think it was around this time that Obi-Wan comes up. Uses his hello there, gets up here, and shoves Dooku off here. I think I messed up the slight order of operations. I don't think there was a turn where Zimbad scored 4, right? But we roll with it for now. I've messed something up somewhere, but we'll roll with it for now. I don't think Zimbad was scoring 4s for a while anyway. Maybe at one point I actually did knock Wrecker back once. I can't remember. I did something. But anyway, Obi-Wan comes up, knocks Dooku off, and I'm like, oh, okay. Right. And the sad thing about this fight, I remember this, the sad thing about this fight was essentially Dooku has a revenge trigger, right? So that means that when he has fight, if you don't get any hits, you can have crits, but if you don't get any regular hits, he can hit you back. But and he can dash and hit you. But he was knocked off the walkway, right? So you know, there wasn't a lot that I could do with that, which unfortunately, right? Yeah, I couldn't use my revenge trigger, I couldn't do anything cool, so Dooku just kind of sat there like a chump. So I decided to activate Kraken. Kraken came across here. Kraken tried to get one of the Magna Guard to knock Wrecker off again, essentially, and it failed. And then he also shot at probably Wrecker or possibly Hunter. Like, he shot at somebody, right? So now it's Zimbad's turn. He's in a really strong position. He doesn't really need to do anything. He's scoring 4, if I've remembered rightly. Right, he's not got any chance of really getting this one. And I believe what he did around this point was he moved No, you know what? I think, actually, in my previous turn, I might have knocked Hunter off, because Hunter did spend some time down there briefly, either with Kraken's shooting, or maybe I decided to go for this Magna Guard. I can't remember. But Zimbad definitely didn't have 2 turns. I don't think he had any turns of scoring. I don't think he had 2. Yeah, I don't think he had 2 turns of scoring 4. So maybe I scored some there. I can't remember. There was something like that. And then I remember Tech came forward and did some generic shooting. At some point, Hunter ended up here fighting someone, so I don't know how that makes sense. Anyway, Tech did some shooting, okay, and I think, getting wounds and getting the black cubes on by shooting at my secondaries, essentially, right? And then I had my final activation of this struggle, which I think we've gone wrong somewhere. Because Echo hasn't done anything. Maybe Echo was in reserve. I've certainly moved everybody now except for these B1s. Yeah. Yeah. So the B1s, I had to activate them. They had to do something. They didn't really. I can't remember why I struggled so hard with the B1s to get them to do anything. They hung around. They tried to shoot things. I remember that this Magna Guard should be like, he jumped down. I remember he knocked off Hunter, and then, no, that wasn't yet. Forgive me. That wasn't yet. I think Hunter's still up there at this point. Yeah. The B1s milled around, did some shooting, tried to do some wounds, and it was about this time, and then, damn it, I think an Echo must have done something, right? Not particularly notable, milling, right? And then I went through the deck, right? Yeah, must have been. I went through the deck, right? Because that's everybody gone. And I think I got Kraken. And I remember moving and shooting and trying to, again, hit, like, Wrecker off or something like that, and it just wouldn't change the board play. And then Zimbad did his deck, and I realised that, if he could get... No, sorry, excuse me. Zimbad now won this struggle. He'd won this struggle. He won this struggle just as the decks changed. The struggle basically lasted almost exactly the length of the deck, right? So I was on the second... Yes, I remember. I'm remembering everything now. So I was on the second... I was picking. These B1s back here. I was picking. And so I had this green... This one here was switched on, right? This one up here, where this green token is, stayed switched on, right? And this one here was switched on. Okay? And then it was my turn... And I remember now, yeah, it was my turn now, and I had to activate the B1s. They were the next one left. So these went here, okay, and these B1s, I think, may have tried to move them up under this bridge, or they shots Obi-Wan, or something inconsequential, right? Because I was stuck, because I had to do the B1s, and they were sort of out of position and in a pointless place, right? And then it was over to Zimbad. And of course, so I'm scoring 1 now, because the one that's worth double is constantly rolling, either the one under Crosshair or the one under Wrecker. And it's very annoying, right? So then it goes back to Zimbad's turn, and this is where, you know, I think he's just doing stuff with... Because it wasn't Obi-Wan yet, it wasn't the 212 yet, it was either Echo or Tech that he drew, and he was in that position where he didn't really have to do anything, right? Yeah, so I think he was shooting my secondaries again, trying to gain up wound tokens. Nothing really consequential, because he knew he was scoring 3 with Wrecker and Crosshair at the back there. And then in my turn... You know, I managed to get Kalani again. So I had another good go at... I think I did actually this time succeed in shoving Wrecker, right? And I shoved Hunter. And then these Magna Guard repositioned over this way, because they got a reposition trigger in their thing. But... the one that Crosshair on was the double, right? So I scored 2, and that was my best turn that I had, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And that was that. And then Zimbad basically got exactly what he needed, I'm pretty sure, in that he got Wrecker, so he was able to come up, barge me back, right? Shove me off the point, and I'm down there, right? So, sucks for me, right? Zimbad scores 3. Over to my turn. I think this was where I got General Grievous, and I tried to come up here and shove or move or do something to Wrecker, and I just couldn't. Wrecker just stood there like a lump again, doing his thing of blocking everything, which sucked a little bit, right? And I think Hunter got some free movement because General Grievous did stuff. Yeah, and then Hunter's over here, and I think he probably got Hunter next, right? And Hunter's over here, murdering just shooting and trying to get wounds on my Kraken and Kalani more than anything else. And I think there was some, with different things, and it may even have been a combat and a shoot that went on, because Hunter's quite epic like that, right? And then we had he's then scoring 3 again. And so you keep track of the score. You know that Zimbad's doing really well. And then it was over to my turn. And what did I do here? I may have got no, it wasn't the Magnus. It must have been that I then got Kraken. And Kraken came up, and I tried to get the Magna Guard around here. I know it doesn't quite look right on the map, but the Magna Guard tried to get in. Basically, I spent another turn trying to shove Wrecker off this point, because this was the one that was the 2-score point, but Wrecker just wouldn't shift, basically. So I'm just wasting my time here. This one that my B1 is on, down at the bottom, literally never rolled to be the critical objective. So I literally never got to score 2. So I'm scoring 1 every single turn. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And then we got to Sinbad's turn, and we basically got to the point where I realised that if he could wound somebody and take my bottom objective off me, he would win. And as soon as I said that, he went, cool, well, I've drawn Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan came down here. It was really cool, actually, to be fair. Finished Dooku off, because he'd fought him earlier on in the struggle, and then was able to get into the distance of this. This B1 had wandered slightly away, right? Oh no, the B1 was down there, but Obi-Wan's on the correct level of the thing, so that's fine. And Sinbad won. And that's basically the telling of the story. So, what did I learn? I learned not to continually try to shove Wrecker. I need, basically, in order to, I never ever played into the Bad Batch before, so I had no idea what they did. And basically, you need to get expose on them if you want to have any hint of trying to really get damage through onto them. You know, or shoves, in my case, was the main thing I was trying to do. Obviously, I screwed up my deployment. I should have had the B1s closer so they could move more. I don't mean to annoy Sinbad, because he did set up the map, but there were basically there weren't as many ways up for my B1s onto the places where they could physically stand. Like, I think the ladder situation was a little bit ropey, but I'm not blaming that really. I just couldn't. It's really hard to get those B1s up the board. Every I don't know how common it is in an actual Shatterpoint game. Every single thing in the middle, and bear in mind shifting priorities, the middle is the thing, right? Was up on the walkways, and the B1s with the big bases, they need to be able to climb directly onto the wider walkways, and a lot of the ladders, the way we had it set up, the ladders were going up onto the towers, so I just couldn't. They just felt really boxed in, like they couldn't really do anything because of the big bases, which is kind of sad. But I could have used them differently. You know, there's more open terrain on the other side. Basically, I could have deployed them differently and thought more about where they were going to go and how they were going to get up. So, to an extent, it's on me because I didn't really read the table properly before I set up. Yeah, I should probably have put things the other way around. Sure. But hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But I'm trying to learn things for the tournament in future. But you know, things I've learned, I've got a better idea of what the Bad Batch do, right? And I realise that my B1s have their AI combat protocols that can hand out expose and bleed as well, or pin or something. Never used that trigger. And I don't know if there was loads of times when I could have used the trigger, but I wasn't in my mind, and it needs to be fixed in my mind more. But yeah, generally speaking, things, you know, I got lucky at the start by being able to do, like, basically Kalani and then Kalani. I think there was something that was, like, reserved in between the two, but it was basically Kalani and then Kalani, which was pretty good. The synergies in my team were pretty good. I've probably missed some bits where I made a dash out of turn with someone else, you know, with an ability somewhere. I've probably missed something, but I'm sure I've missed loads of things, because I don't really remember what Tech did at all in the whole game, which is quite funny. But yeah, I thought about changing my list. I thought, like, because there were definitely times when I thought, damn, I wish I had something better than the B1s. The only thing I take out of the B1s is the B2s. They are really good, but they have the same big base problem. As I could swap Dooku for Ventress, and then the B1s to B2s, but I'm going to stick with the list that I have. I think Dooku was really good. Like, he was lackluster in that game. He kind of got owned by Obi-Wan, which I don't think should happen, because Dooku's a better fighter if you look at the cards. But at the same time, it's when you get charged versus when, you know, it's the shoves. It's the shoves and the fact that there was so much. I can't wait to go to this tournament and see what the tournament maps are like, because the game is very much dominated. This game is very much dominated by people being shoved off things. That was it, basically. Because I think there was one active objective on the ground level. So that, yeah. But you live and learn. You live and learn. You live and you learn. Yeah, I'm rambling now, so I'll stop. Right, that's it. I enjoyed this. I'm on a bit of a Shatterpoint kick at the moment. If you've been on the Discord, you saw me at work all day. Me and Oro both skiving in the workplace. Just spent the whole time talking about random Shatterpoint. It has. I've said before that I don't like list building because I don't really like points, and I especially don't like list building where you're like going, oh, do I want this 14-point power fist or this 13-point power axe, right? But Shatterpoint's list building is really interesting to me, and I enjoy looking at all the different tags on Shatterpoint DB and trying to work out mad little lists. So that's good fun. I'm on a bit of a Shatterpoint kick at the moment, which I know most of you here for Kill Team. It is what it is. The game itself was very close at first, but Zimbad did just seem to take the momentum. Please don't comment saying, "Oh, this was a cheat. This was a cheat. This was that went wrong." Blah blah. Because, like, this isn't supposed to be a battle report. It's not titled as a battle report. And 99 times out of 100, if you think that me or Zimbad, especially if you're going to say, "Oh, Zimbad shouldn't have been able to do that," like, probably I just misremembered what happened. Because first of all, I'm doing this 2 days out instead of 1 day out because I had a technical problem. The first version of this video was better, but what are you going to do, right? And it's not really about the game. It's using what I vaguely remember as the game. I'm basically trying to improve by reflecting on what happened and going over the bits that loom well in my mind. I actually think that Shatterpoint is quite... In some ways, it's not that tactically deep, right? Because you are quite limited in the number of decisions that you can make. Because you are activating the model you're activating, or you're reserving that model, but you've only got one reserve slot to play with. And you're making lots of very instant, like, how can I get a point this activation with this tool that I've been handed? And I like that about it, right? So there's not that much to kind of... The bits that are more rote that I can try and nail down in my head, I need to understand why I just kind of milled the B1s around randomly shooting things. Randomly taking shots in this game is pointless, right? I need to work out what's going on wrong in my brain with that. Right, I can see that was a poor move. I've learned about another team, that's positive, and I need to nail down my deployment because that's one of the things that you actually can have a plan. And also fix my brain that with a move and a dash, you totally can get into the middle. I think Zimbab might have had slightly more advantageous lad. I'm not blaming him. I don't think he did it on purpose, right? I think it's just the way... Basically, I glued the terrain set together in a certain way, and then some of the ladders have fallen off, and other ladders have to be placed there, and the ladders in Shatterpoint are annoying. And actually, and I've just reminded myself, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to 3D print a bunch of little things so that the ladders can actually have little hats that slot into the terrain, which will make them actually stay in the right places and make the game much more enjoyable, right? So that's good. I wish, and Zimbad doesn't agree with me, I wish that Shatterpoint had map packs like... so that it wasn't even in my mind that the terrain screwed me. Because it's probably not true. And it's certainly not fair on Zim. If the terrain did screw me, it wasn't because he planned it that way. He just made a thing that he thinks looks cool. Right? And then just does things. But yeah. That's my final thoughts. Please do, if you really like this content, then this is basically the bottom of the barrel. So if you like this, you'll love everything else. So please do subscribe, comment, like, etc. Consider joining the Discord. Big thank you to all my members, but especially to Nightfall and Samuel Troth, who are both subscribed at the highest tier. Yes, even though they don't like Shatterpoint and probably haven't watched the end. But thank you anyway, lads. Okay. Bye-bye. Cheery bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. 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 Where's the button? There's the button. Bye-bye. Bye.